recording now. Welcome to The Week Ahead, a podcast brought to you by SPM Intelligence. I am your host, Judy Gaya, and every Saturday we look at stories shaping our continent. Joining me for in-depth analysis and expert insights on these critical stories is Confidence Makari, Senior Security Analyst at SPM Intelligence. Welcome, Confidence.
Yeah, Judy, thank you for having me.
Okay. So first up, one of Nigeria's most reliable businesses, Okomu Oil Palm Plc, is facing a crisis. Recent attacks by criminal gangs have left 3 employees dead, raising questions about investor safety and government intervention. So to background the story, Okomu Oil Palm Plc is a multi-billion naira investment located in Edo State. It has faced several attacks, including kidnapping and killing of staff, as well as destruction of its property by armed groups. Managing Director Graham Hafer has criticized the lack of government support in securing its operations, despite the company paying over 12 billion naira in annual taxes. Although the police have increased deployment, the situation remains worrisome due to complex political, ethnic, and resource control issues. It would be recalled that Okomu Oil Palm Plc had in April declared over 23 billion naira profit before taxes for the first quarter of 2024. A group calling itself Ijaw Freedom Fighters has claimed responsibility for the recent attack and is demanding a 25% stake in the company. So, Confidence, do you feel the militants have a valid claim to Okomu Oil Palm shares, or do you consider...
Actually, I don't. Yeah, sorry for interrupting you, but for somebody who has been an active viewer or an active watcher of the Nigerian political economic space for a long time, one ordinarily would not be surprised by this kind of development because of how rent-seeking the Nigerian economic space is. As far as having a valid claim to Okomu goes, I don't think they do. First of all, because Okomu Oil is not one of those companies where community social responsibility is low. I was looking at their finances for the past year, and I saw that what they pay as community social responsibilities is at the same level as what they pay annually as for staff, about 13 billion naira for each of them. And so on one hand, you could look at it as the claim or the demand by these Ijaw militants as rent seeking and the manner of speaking, trying to reap they haven't sold. But then it's much more a feature of doing business in Nigeria. I wouldn't say it's a new thing. It's been going on for some years. So the mere fact that it could happen right now, say it's more of a testament to the kind of pervasive culture that goes on around in Nigeria today.
Okay, so it's safe to say that there are opportunists trying to cash in on a payday, perhaps because of the profit declared by Okomu Oil Palm.
Absolutely. It's opportunistic. It's opportunistic. It is rent-seeking behavior. It's mostly a continuation of the extortionists and the extortionist shakedowns that host communities have done to businesses, not just foreign businesses that are doing business in Nigeria, operating in Nigeria, and I'm talking about the crude oil companies. I'm also talking about indigenous businesses like a palm oil business, Okomu Oil, that's been operating in Edo State for years even before I was born. So this behavior has not gone away, largely because there is no incentive for it to go away. And I do hope that this is the last time this kind of a thing will happen because of the dire consequences it will have for the general business environment.
Okay, so what are the implications of such security threats to businesses operating in Edo State as well as the country at large? Should such threats persist?
Yeah, so the implications are dire, as I said previously. One of them is the perception on the ease of doing business. In more often than not, when it comes to business, perception is reality. No matter how much one tries to shy away, use from that fact, using data points and the rest of that. The first thing investors look at is how secure you are. If you're going to pitch to foreign investors for FDI inflows, and then you're looking at security reports, not only coming from the news, but from people who are operating in the same space, it's going to discourage them a lot. And the disappointing thing is that this Okomu oil attack is happening alongside other attacks on businesses. I think in the same week that the Okomu oil facility was attacked in Edo State, Dangote cement drivers were attacked in Okbela, in the same state. So the general business environment is impacted, and it's a testament to the fact that the social contract between Nigerians and their governments is badly broken, and it needs stringent repairs. And if the most direct implication of this is that other businesses are paying attention, and for those who are already operating on the ground and those who are being pushed to operate on the ground, they will look at these things and look at, in the first place, a government that is not serious, and in the second place, a hostile business environment that the government does not have a handle of, and it's going to portend real troubles for the country's earnings.
Okay, so as a security expert, what would you advise companies in this situation to do?
I think that in continuation from what I've said is the most dominant theme is that the government does not have a handle of the situation. I read this speech from the CEO of Okomu Oil, and he hinted at the fact that the company pays government millions, or if not hundreds of millions of taxes annually to prevent this kind of things from happening. And there appears that for this kind of thing to happen, and to put it into context, this week's attack is the third, at least in the past year, on Okomu Oil. There was one that happened either last year or in 2022, and it was blamed on Fulani herdsmen. It was blamed on Fulani herdsmen. And then last week, there was a preceding attack that killed 3 staffers. And then it was this week's attack that most people got a clue of what exactly is going on the ground, with the letter which the attackers trapped on the body of the deceased, demanding 25% shares. So what I would suggest as a security analyst is that from the foregoing and from all the indications, the government does not have a handle of the situation, and the taxes notwithstanding, the government does not have any plan to shield the companies from these. So this is an opportunity for private security companies to thrive. And if there is a possibility that a chunk of their profits could be chunked away and kept for private security purposes to complement whatever current existing security arrangement they have, I think it will serve them a lot better than waiting for the government to come to their aid.
Okay, thank you for that inside confidence. So next, we move on to...
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. The next story is on the Nigerian Fiscal Policy Committee has proposed sweeping value-added tax, which is also known as VAT or VAT reforms, aimed at simplifying the tax system and protecting vulnerable populations. Part of the reform proposed is the simplification of the VAT system by consolidating state-level consumption tax, allowing input VAT credits for businesses, and exempting basic needs from VAT. So, and to anticipate the shortfall of revenue, the committee also proposed that VAT be raised on luxury goods. So, Confidence, how will these changes truly impact small businesses and lower income segments of the society?
So the first things to know is that Nigeria's VAT at the moment is 7.5%. I think it was the Buhari administration that increased it. It used to be 5%, and in the dying days of the administration, it was increased by 2.5% to 7.5%. So this means that if an item is priced at 100 naira, it is exempted from VAT, that's value added tax. The consumer may end up between 92 and 93 naira for the item. It may seem like a small drop in price, but when these price drops happens across board on a sizable number of items, that household items the household items spend their income on, the effects will be slightly significant. So other factors of production, like the cost of generating electricity and transportation costs, would have to reduce for households to considerably feel the impact of the VAT exemption. So the VAT rate is a small factor among all the things that determine the final price of an item. So it's not a silver bullet. So in essence, what I'm saying is, for this kind of a thing to be felt, other factors of production, so the cost of roads, the cost of transporting goods, for instance, for people who use roads to transport goods, the cost of storage, the cost of electricity, the cost of energy general, and then in the most immediate sense, the cost of the price of fuel. Would also have to come down for these ones to be for this particular change to be seen or to be felt.
Okay. And what are the potential implications of Nigeria's overall, or what are the potential implications of these to Nigeria's overall business environment?
Like I said, the impact will be small, but VAT exemption on consumables will free up some percentage on the household income spent on these essential items. So this will in turn increase some of the pressure on household income and cause citizens to have some respite. In 2020, SBM published this report that said that Nigerians spend about 60 to 60% of their income on food. So given the inflationary costs year on year, that number has particularly gone up. I do not really have the raw figures now. I do think it should be between somewhere between 65 and 70%. So what the VAT exemption will do is to give a little bit of a respite for families who are already feeling the pinch, for them to use their money to for them to use whatever money they have to ask for that disposable income for other purposes.
Okay, but how would this affect businesses?
So the tax reforms are still being proposed. I have to say that they are still being proposed. It's not easy to anticipate whether it will improve or worsen Nigeria's inflation problem. There are several things that can happen between the proposal and implementation phase. So the method of implementation and its timeline will also play a role in determining these reforms, whether they will affect the economy or not. So I think on that note, we have to keep our fingers crossed.
Okay. Um, to your knowledge, have there been any concerns raised about the potential inflationary impact of the VAT increase on non-essential goods?
So the proposed tax reforms are not readily limited to VAT only. They are also targeted at reducing, or in some cases eliminating, the multiple taxes paid by businesses. All levels of government, from local, state, and federal, impose taxes on business, and that's for sure. I think in the current list, it provides for that. So, for instance, companies in the telecommunication sector allege that they pay about 38 taxes in total, and this is not just to one particular tier of government, at least two. I'm talking about state and federal. So reforming this situation will improve the business environment at the ease of doing business. So, however, the method of implementation, like I said previously, will have a big effect on results.
Okay. Okay, so finally, we head over to Ghana, where inflation rates are showing a mixed picture with decline in food prices contrasting with increases in non-food items. Data coming out of Ghana highlights a slight decrease in the overall inflation rate from 29.6% to 26.8%, the lowest it has been in 13 months. So, Confidence, can you enlighten us on factors driving these trends and how they are affecting purchasing power of everyday Ghanaians?
All right, so yeah, I'll do that. So Ghana's headline inflation rates of 25% and food inflation rate of 29.6% looks a little bit artificial in the manner of speaking. So it's important to note that all of these rates are year on year. And so they do not really reflect what is going on in the Ghanaian economy at the moment. The real deal is seen when the data is looked at the month-on-month level, where food inflation is up by 2.1%, which means that in just 30 days, that's the 30-day period between March and April this year, food prices are up by more than 2%. And it has left many Ghanaians worried. So in simple terms, prices are still rising, and it costs more now to even prepare a pot of jollof for a family of 5 in Ghana. So you would need almost 400 cedis, which is like $30 now, to make a pot of jollof for a family of 5.
Okay. So hello?
I can hear you. Please go on.
Okay. So
I can hear you. Can you hear?
Okay, I can hear you. So what factors led to the decline in food inflation? Was it due to a seasonal increase in supply, government policy, or other reasons?
I didn't get your question, please.
Okay.
Can you repeat that?
All right. I said, are you aware of specific factors that led to the decline in food inflation? Was it due to a seasonal increase in supply, government policies, or other reasons?
If I can't say that for now. So that's due to the fact that what I'm trying to say, I can't pinpoint to one. The cities have lost its value, but the cities have lost its value. That's a given. But there are a lot of other factors that could contribute to this. It's not easy to pinpoint to one. The drop is year on year, and it doesn't really tell the story. So at the moment, on month level, the dollar is killing the cities, and that's making import bills more expensive and gradually feeding price hikes. So for what I'm basically saying is that, from what I've said before, the whole thing is artificial. So we have to see this rate be maintained on in long term, at least month on month for some considerable period before we can be able to say, okay, this thing is sustainable. But at the moment, we just have to watch it at the level this is going.
Okay. Looking at the same data, we also see that there's a fall in the rate of inflation for both imported and locally produced items. Any idea why this is so?
You're asking about the fall in what?
The fall in the rate of inflation for both imported and locally produced goods.
So one of the reasons why this thing is happening. So I would like to make a comparison between the Nigeria's case and Ghana's case. So in Nigeria, if you have a situation where food prices are coming down, one of the most obvious examples, or one of the most leading causes of food inflation, you look at things like farmers being able to access their farms in large numbers, the planting season, the harvesting season, and all of that. And then the factors that are inhibiting farmers from accessing their farms, which is insecurity and everything. So Ghana doesn't really have that. So it is not that easy to pinpoint exactly where this particular one is coming from or what best somebody can easily say. And because you can't even pinpoint it to the fact that, or you can't even pinpoint it to say that the CDs is performing well against the dollar, and then it is much easier to import than before. So I don't readily know. I can't readily tell you why. So it's just something that I have to keep a close eye on. Yeah, I see something I have to keep a close eye on to see the trends.
Okay, thank you so much, Confidence, for being a part of today's episode. And to all our listeners, thank
you very much for having me. Looking forward to it.
All right, thank you, Confidence. And to all our listeners, this podcast is by SBM Intelligence. For deeper insights into our work, visit our website at www.sbmintelligence.com. And remember to connect with us on social media. You can find us at Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn using @SBM Intelligence. This is all for today. Thanks for listening.